Hi everyone, it's Ray at Ray's Reviews again. A big thank you for joining us. So what a weekend of football we've just had, guys, and has the Premier League title just been decided? We will see. First game on Friday night, guys, was Leicester City, my old team, against Brentford. It was a great game if you're a Brentford fan. It wasn't a great game if you're a Leicester fan. Brentford's winning the game 4-0. Goals from Wissa and Bueno, Norgard, and then Liverpool's ex-striker Fabio Carvalho. A little bit disappointing for Leicester City. I think when I watched Leicester last weekend and they played Arsenal, 78, 79 minutes, they were in that game. They had opportunities to go 1-0 up. Confidence is a funny thing in football, and if that game finishes a draw against Arsenal, or Leicester managed to beat Arsenal last weekend, I believe this game is a completely different game. And it just goes to show the effects that actual confidence can have on games. But again, what an amazing season Brentford are having. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong, but it's looking like Leicester, my old club, are going to be going back down to the Championship. Hopefully they can get it right and they can fix it and they can get themselves back up. Then we move on to Saturday's results, guys. So we had Everton versus Manchester United. I actually did do a prediction on this one. I actually predicted first goal for Beto in the game, and also I actually predicted Everton 4, Manchester United 0. I wasn't quite right. It actually finished Everton 2, Manchester United 2. I think Everton will be very, very disappointed with this one, more so than the previous draw at home against Liverpool where they stole an equaliser. I think they gave away the game 10 minutes to go. I'm also a big believer in karma in football, and people used to say to me when I'm younger, the game's got a way of balancing itself out across 38 games. I think Everton were very, very lucky against Liverpool, and for me, they got, and not because I'm a Liverpool fan, but they got an undeserved equaliser. There was a bit of controversy around the goal, the push, the shove, but I think I'm starting to realise as I get older and get smarter that the game does balance itself out. And I think Manchester United, the last 10 minutes, they probably could have won the game 3-2. But I think for United, 2-0 down. I think Everton, a draw against Liverpool at home, a draw against Man United, I think they're in the right direction. I think that's 14 points out of a possible 18 for David Moyes. So well done the Toffees. Bournemouth 0, Wolves 1. This game was a little bit of a shock for some people. I actually predicted a 1-1 draw. So this is a great result for Wolves. Wolves again get another important win to keep trying to push themselves up the table and avoid that relegation battle. Now, one of the shocks of the weekend, I did predict Arsenal 1, West Ham 1. It actually finished Arsenal 0, West Ham 1. One of the big things for me, I think, unfortunately, if you're an Arsenal fan, is not only the injuries that Arsenal have got, but also it's the lack of consistency that they've got going on. And this is one of the big, big problems that Arsenal have got this season. I used to sort of make that excuse a little bit with Liverpool and under Klopp, but one of the reasons that I discovered why I think Klopp wasn't as successful in his last 4 or 5 seasons is quite simply because of the rock and roll football. It creates a lot of pressure, a lot of strain on the players, and in turn creates a lot of injuries. So when people say Arteta and Arsenal are unlucky, I don't believe they are unlucky. I believe they've pushed the players to the extremes in pre-season. It's the type of regiment they've got them on, the diet, the nutrition, the training, and I just don't think it's worked for Arsenal. I think for Arteta to be successful, if he looks at his load and looks at the style of play, I think they've got a great chance of turning it around, and who knows, maybe next season they could challenge for that Premier League title. Next game was Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 2. There was a lot of battles in London this weekend, so there was plenty of Premier League fixtures with London clubs facing each other. For me, I was a little bit shocked at this one. I actually predicted Fulham would win this 2-1. Great result for Crystal Palace. Again, 3 big points for Crystal Palace away to Fulham. The next game was Ipswich 1, Tottenham 4. Great result for Tottenham, great result for Ange Postecoglou. That's 3 wins on the bounce now. Tottenham are on the move. I think for Tottenham, if they can start to get a few more players back, and I'm gonna make a bit of a bold prediction. Actually predicting Tottenham to actually win the Europa League and Liverpool to win the Champions League this year. And I believe it's going to happen. I'm looking at Tottenham. I'm looking at the players they've got to come back, and what seemed like not a great season, I think is going to be probably maybe finish on a high, and they're going to get one of the biggest trophies in the cabinet. And what a way for Ange to end the season, but we'll see how that one works out. Then we had Southampton versus Brighton. We had Southampton 0, Brighton 4. This is a huge result for Brighton. Absolutely phenomenal score. Brighton, similar to the likes of Brentford and Bournemouth, for starting to hit the straps again and getting the results over the line. Southampton, the writing's been on the wall, I think, since round 11 or 12. They are unfortunately going to be going straight back to the Championship. Then our final game on Saturday, we had Aston Villa versus Chelsea. I had this one down as Aston Villa 3, Chelsea 1. It actually finished Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1. So I think for Aston Villa, they had a great game against Liverpool midweek last week. I think it prepped them in preparation for this game against Chelsea. Chelsea, very, very similar to Arsenal in many ways. Very, very inconsistent. I think the training loads are not great. They've had inconsistencies with injuries, players starting, not starting, and it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. I think if you were the owner of Chelsea, you'd be very disappointed where they are in the table at the moment. And then we move on to Sunday, which was early hours this morning. We had two games. The first game was Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest. I actually predicted this as Newcastle 2, Forest 2. It actually finished Newcastle 4, Nottingham Forest 3. A great result for Newcastle, who are just slightly behind Nottingham in the table. It's a 6-pointer. I think it's one that's going to fill Newcastle with confidence, and they could kick on and go on and win the next couple of games. However, they do have to go to Anfield in a couple of weeks, which is going to be really, really tough for them. Nottingham Forest, I don't think they'll be too overly worried. Newcastle's a tough place to go. Not many teams win there. Big crowd, big fan base. I think Notts Forest's next game is Arsenal at home, and I think, if I'm honest, Nottingham Forest will fancy the chances, and I've got a tip of Forest 2, Arsenal 0 on that game. And then to the big game at the weekend, guys, Manchester City versus Liverpool. I believe this weekend a lot of people were looking at these fixtures thinking this is an opportunity where Arsenal could get an easy win against West Ham. Liverpool might slip up against Man City. It could be 5 points difference with a game in hand for Arsenal, so it could have been down to 2 points with Arsenal still to go to Liverpool. However, it didn't work out that way. As we see, West Ham beat Arsenal quite convincingly 1-0. Liverpool finished the game against Manchester City. It was Manchester City 0, Liverpool 2. Goals from Salah and Szoboszlai. Salah both assisted each other, and Szoboszlai, and they both were scorers. I think they were both in to be man of the match, but Mohamed Salah got the man of the match. So guys, Liverpool, 11 points clear, 11 games to go. What are your thoughts? Is the league title done, or is there still a twist in this title? I believe, for me, Liverpool need to win 6 games out of the remaining 11, and I believe that the teams below them are still going to lose games. Arsenal have got tough games against Chelsea, Nottingham Forest and Manchester United to come, and I think anyone below Arsenal are too far away from Liverpool. My belief is, and I've said this from day one, I think Liverpool's game against Tottenham at Anfield could be where they get crowned champions of England again, to make them not only the greatest team in England with the most trophies in England, but also level Man United and Premier League titles, which would be phenomenal for me being a Liverpool fan. But I think for the neutrals as well, it's been tricky watching the Premier League the past 4 years, seeing Manchester City constantly getting over that line. Guys, that's everything from me. All I want you to do is leave me comments below what you think about some of the results and some of the games, and I'll look for the best comments, and we're going to give a Champions League ball to the best comments.